$500, which we should, I will then add 2 more slots for additional dances that you can donate for.
Bard emotes? Okay. Or real life emotes. Okay.
Yeah, real emotes. You can make gifts out of them.
We didn't use them last season because I look like this and it represents my dance skills.
Okay. All right. That's an interesting take on last week's games. What about you, Death Knot? What did you notice last week in the games?
Well, I always like to look at how the meta keeps changing, especially recently with how Blizzard's been with patches and how quick they've been with patches, and looks like Brawl's back.
Yes.
To the dismay of
love it.
All of us flex DPS like myself because we're in May jail again, unless you're into that sort of thing. I mean,
no judgments here. No judgments.
Yeah, it's a hard life. Some people choose it. I don't know, but Double Bubble's still strong though. There's a lot of teams still running it and getting success out of it. But the Brawl's kind of strong, man. I think we're gonna see it for a little while too.
All right. That's a good take. Booth, if you want to show everybody your cat for a while and then tell us what you think about last week's game.
I'll pull her up here. Yeah, I mean, I'll actually talk about last week. Thank you, Bard. But, I think this is kind of finally, we brought it up last week. Last week was the time teams had to make that jump. Were they going to turn the stage around, or was it going to kind of be like the end for them? Are they going to finish at the top? Are they going to shoot for the mid? And I think we kind of crossed a couple of areas. I didn't think we'd get such distinct answers, but we're kind of seeing how things are going to shape up. I mean, Harmony tier, we see who the top 5 teams are. There's still the other 3 slots are kind of open. There's a lot of 2-and-1s that are going to be really close to aim for it. Discord, I felt like was a little more up in the air. ARM's kind of set just due to how some teams are 3-0, but I think the sad part over there is that we're going to have some teams, especially on the ARM side, that are top 8 teams that are going to end up in Group B just because it's so stacked. But, I'm excited to see this. Cab just told me he finished the story arcs. Season 6 manga is finished for us now. So we don't have to wait any longer. We're going to figure out soon enough what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about those 2-and-1s. We're going to talk about those 2-and-1s in a little bit. Harmony Giant, what did you notice last week?
Before I say what I noticed last week, I noticed while Booth was holding his cat, he looks like the least intimidating supervillain with his sweater. As far as last week, I think honestly what I noticed most is there's a lot of competition still going on. A lot of teams that are still 3-0, and lots of people that are still going to move into these next stages, pretty high up in the rankings, just like Booth said. And that's the thing that I noticed the most was that there are still a ton of undefeated teams out there.
Okay. All right. Good to know. All right. Booth, don't worry. I think you're intimidating. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Don't listen to him. I find him plenty intimidating. So now we're going to talk about we talked about last week. So let's talk about next week. What do we have to look forward to in the games that are going to be played in this coming week, Bard?
Yeah, well, thank you for asking me about the games that are going to be played. Anyway, back to Rise Above the Disorder and our donations. You can type !donate in chat to get to our Tiltify link. But next week, I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to be donating and who's going to be donating a lot, because I'm going to throw another incentive in the ring. Our top 2 donators who aren't admins, because the admins double down usually, the numbers get funky. The top 2 contributors to our campaign will get to decide my next 2 gold guns on either of my accounts. And for some people, gold guns aren't a big deal because they grind comp a lot. They get a lot of comp points. I get a gold gun once every 5 comp seasons. So this is a big deal for me, and I will let you pick whoever you like.
Okay. All right. Pick Bard's golden gun. That's a good one. Okay. Death Knot, what are you looking forward to in the games that are going to be played this week?
So specifically, the game I'm looking forward to is Decapitators versus Tempest. Now, I'm biased towards Potato Org, all the time. It's whatever. It's the only org I've been a part of and only org I want to be in, even though I love all you other guys. But, Potato Org is best, by the way.
Okay, no bias or anything. Okay.
Yeah, no bias. No bias. But I think, Decapitators, I think they're really underrated. They've got, a pretty high win rate as far as points go, and they're 0-3 still. So, and they just got two pretty big pickups in Monaco and Delphi. So, I don't know. I think it's going to start turning around And what better than, their feature match?
Okay. All right. Good to know that feature match is Wednesday, correct?
Wednesday?
Yes. Wednesday. It's about an hour after our normal start time, so you can check that out. All right. Booth, what are you looking forward to this coming week in the games?
So I'll be careful. I won't try to leak too much here, NPC. Stop me if I start saying too much. But I've got some insider knowledge about a new tool available to get off my LAN. And I'm just gonna say this is really gonna set apart the playing field. This is gonna put them at a different level. I'm not gonna say whether the level is gonna be higher or lower, but it's gonna put them at a different level. I mean, my sources are telling me they have contracted out to the top levels to get a system to generate their comps for them. And I don't know how you prepare against a team like this now when it's a system built so good by someone so smart. I think
we have
IBM
this Watson building our
Watson is going to be figuring things out now for Get Off My LAN, and I don't know how you compete with that, honestly. So I'm looking forward to their match this week.
Okay, that'll be a fun time for sure. Harmony Giant, what are you looking forward to this coming week?
There's a couple matches that I'm really looking forward to. The first one being Flashbacks versus Miami Yikes. Both teams super competitive. Both teams very strong. I think it'll be a true test for either team to see who comes out on top. I think it'll be a close match. The other one being Dirt, which is a favorite of mine, and Infrared. They're both two competitive teams. They're both on the lower side of the rankings, but I think that it'll be kind of a breaking point for one of those teams.
Definitely looking forward to that. So I'm going to weigh in on this one. So I'm looking forward to the Thursday night Discord tier feature match, the Flying Lions and the Scarlet Lions, the Battle of the Lions. These two teams, there's no prize money at the end of this, but these two lions, they're fighting for pride.
Oh God!
Hey! I hijacked this podcast just to make that joke. Okay, I wasn't even supposed to be here. I had to make that joke. Okay.
I thought NPC dad jokes were gone.
No, not gone.
I wasn't supposed to be here.
Okay, Harmony Giant has turned to snow, and while I'm trying to fix that,
Oh my God.
give me a spicy hot take, Bard.
Spicy hot take, you say? Wait a minute. Spicy, hot. Donations to Rise Above the Disorder.
There it is.
If we hit $3,500 in our donations, again, before admins contribute because it gets really funky, I will do a spicy hot sauce challenge in which I will make some very normal chicken nuggets and I will dunk them in some spicy hot sauce on camera and eat them. Limited to my budget as a in-debt, soon-to-be second time in college student.
Nice.
But I will film that and you will all get to watch me die on camera.
My favorite.
I like that.
Yes.
Okay, I too. This is Twitch TOS. He's not actually going to die. Just want to confirm.
Absolutely. Oh no, I'll survive.
Speaking of death,
Corporate got to us.
Speaking of death, we're gonna hear from Death Knot. What's your spicy hot take or a cold hard truth?
So this might be like a little bit of both, but I mean, Flashbacks, they're so strong. It's looking like the only team that can beat them is themselves. Like at this point, they've got that cockiness to them, which I think it's a good thing as long as you're not being toxic or anything. But this team, they're just all about brute forcing the win. I've heard here and there that comms might not be as much of a priority for them. It's just let's just go out and just win the freaking game. So, if you're going to go up against them, might need to try to be a little bit more team oriented and weather the storm because, Flashbacks, they're tough, man.
Okay, Flashbacks. I can see that going all the way. All right, Booth. What do you think? What's your spicy hot take or cold hard truth?
Yeah, cold hard truth this week. You guys are awful at Busan. I mean, awful at Busan. If you look back at the other weeks, there's like a a pretty good mixture of like 2-1s, 2-0s. No, last week 2/3 of the games were 2-0s. We didn't even get to see all 3 points in 2/3 of our games last week. And I think it's always been because, I mean, again, tell me if I'm wrong. I haven't played competitive in such a long time, but Busan always seemed like one of those maps where teams that can really work across various compositions tend to do really well because the tank comps really switch up from map to map. And I mean, I saw how dominant Echo's been, especially across downtown. So having the right person that can really take you that far, or that Echo from the top, and then have some good dive tanks, especially on downtown. That's one of my favorite points to play on. But we're not going to see it for the rest of the stage, so you guys are okay for now. But you gotta kick it back in gear. We're probably going to see that map again, so please scrim it a little bit more.
Just a little bit.
Okay, you guys are bad at Busan. You heard it here from Booth himself. Harmony Giant, what do you have a spicy hot take for us, or cold hard truth?
So as much as I am wearing my Holy Jalapeno shirt, I have a cold hard truth. It seems like a lot of teams are kind of in that 1-2, 0-3 kind of range. It's only going to get harder from here the longer we go. And I think that if you're finding yourself in that bottom tier, you need to switch something up, whether it's your play style, whether it's what you run, what you do. You can get it there. It's only 3 games in and we're going to week 4, but it's going to get harder. You need to switch something up to kind of figure it all out.
Okay. Yeah, definitely switch things up. That always helps by keeping things fresh and switching it up and just, go with the meta. All right. So we've got some cold hard truths and some spicy hot takes. Let's take a look at what our whole panelists of Iris podcasters have voted as our Iris top 5 teams in Harmony tier. Right now, that's looking like Flashbacks. It looks like Void at number 5, Modify at number 4. 3 is Phantasmal, Doodles at number 2, and Flashbacks are number 1. So Flashbacks, number 1, Death Knot said it earlier, the only one that can defeat them is themselves. You guys got anything to add to this? You think maybe there's somebody off this list, or do you think maybe, somebody's on there that kind of is a fluke or fluke or whatever?
For Luke.
For real fluke, I think that's what we went with last week, right?
Yeah.
It's the worst joke I've ever made.
I don't know.
And that says something.
Yes. Normally in PC, I think that we're kind of off our rocker sometimes, but I think we got these 5 kind of picked out right. At least.
Yeah, I'm with that. Yeah.
This is pretty solid. All right, let's take a look at the top 5 for Discord tier. We got number 5, Soul Cyberpunks. Number 4, Atlas Arcadia. Number 3, Nya. Number 2, Joey Esports. And number 1, Ragnarok. Again, coming in at number 1. Ragnarok looking like a force. But anybody got anything that they need to add to this one?
I have some to add because you tried. I'll give you that one. Yeti doesn't, but it's nya. It's not nya. It's like you gotta put the emphasis in. They took that name, they committed to it. You gotta give them the respect.
Bard's over here all like, it's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Weeb right.
Wait, can I jump in? I did the beat drop. None of us are right. It's NYA. It stands for something. It's not Nya.
It does stand for something, and I know what it stands for, but I'm not going to say it on the podcast because Twitch TOS. We can't.
Oh.
You're just supposed to have to guess on your own.
No, it's not anything bad. I don't think. I think it's like a pretty standard. They might have lied to me. I'll give them that. I'm just kidding. They at least fooled me.
Well, I'm trying to debate the chat.
Like backup.
Thanks for not playing along. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, NPC. I didn't get it.
A realistic thing to add, that's not just how you pronounce Nya. I think Flying Lions, man. Like, I don't know exactly who they'd bump out in there. Maybe Cyberpunks, possibly. I think Flying Lions are going to surprise some people. They had a rough start, but man, that team looks good.
They've got starting to take flight, huh?
Yeah, they've got some crack DPS. They had a really good win last week. So.
Okay. All right.
Aphelion as well. 2-1. We left them off of there. Aphelions a pretty strong team as well. I could see them.
Another Lion team. Okay.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A couple teams in Discord tier also bouncing back pretty strong from some rough starts or some rough losses week 2. So that was what I was gonna say in Amp It Up.
We're still pretty early.
You had your chance for Amp It Up. Okay, it's over now, Bard. All right, let's look at the top 5 for Transcendence here. We're going to move it on here. Number 5, One Last Freak. Number 4, Corvidity. Number 3, Alpha. Number 2, God Hand, they're actually still in the tournament. And number 1, Ghostly Peppers, still top 5 Transcendency. That's pretty stacked right there. I can't disagree with any of that. What do you guys think? You guys got anything to add to that? Maybe a number 6?
It's hard to disagree with that. I just can't wait to see Ghostly Peppers and God Hand play a match. That is going to be some really good Overwatch.
Okay.
So. I didn't submit my top 5 this week because I forgot and didn't get it in on time, but we still went 14 for 15 of my picks. So I think we're all a bunch of very smart individuals, or that's very concerning for all of you.
There's also no way for us to prove that. So
right. Okay. True. Okay, well, it looks like Mr. Yeti has written down here, we're going to see the highlights montage, but you know what? That guy's not here. I'm in charge now. I think we're going to run the comms check. You know what?
Hey.
Let's do that. Let's run the comms check. Big shout out to Aries for putting this comms check together with less than 24 hours notice. It's actually really, really sick. So
nice.
Everybody tune into that and check that out. We'll be right back with Crunch Time.
Winston's message wasn't meant for you. This isn't your fight. Papa told me after so many years of service, you gave Overwatch everything, and then they pushed you out. Why would you go back to them? What were you still
Johnny, I'm trying to sneak around, but I'm dummy thick, and the clap of my ass cheeks keeps alerting the guards. I'm dummy thick.
Allah. Leave. No, Allah. Mercy. Who the fuck are you looking at that's low? Nobody. I don't see health bars. I'm just falling.
I'm on fire. Everyone's good at the game.
Only good players on fire.
True.
Sorry, Whisper. That's how the cookie crumbles.
3, 2, 1, fighting!
Really good. That was really good. That was really good.
I will jump down mid.
Okay. Monkey. Oh, you're bubble guy in.
I am in. I have Famer. I am trapped. Goodbye.
You're
No one expects a fucking Torb!
Oh,
No one expects a Torb!
Comms track, here we go.
Use Pirates of the Caribbean song, please.
Pulling?
What's up?
Still.
If I were them, I simply just would not get back pain. That's not my problem.
Juice, you have back problems.
You're so
Juice,
dumb.
you have back.
Just don't get it, dude. No, like literally, he's got a point. Just don't get it, man.
If I were Juice, I would.
Okay, one thing, everybody, stop jumping, please. You guys jump. Everybody jumps against the Widow. I see people running around, jumping around, fighting tracers, jumping around.
You
guys make me proud to be your coach.
Yeah! He's proud of us! This is the biggest win of all time!
Let's go.
I'm so close to waving right now.
There's a koala, and this is the koala room.
No way.
Look, look right here. Here.
Oh.
Okay. I actively hate the elderly.
What, bruh? Nothing wrong with the elderly. It's just
It is.
you didn't plan.
E-girl jump with. Bro, call me fucking Tony Hawk, bro.
No,
Echo. Epic. 6.9, nice.
Nice.
69.
Get it? Cause you can
Somebody.
eat my bananas.
Probably the Russian lady. Definitely not the monkey.
Oh, monkey. The ball. Wait, who touched? No one. Okay. Whee! I like Wrecking Ball. He rolls around and goes bird.
Alright, yeah,
I am deep in the
The banana man.
Where's it? Alright.
Widow's occupied.
Widow is not occupied enough.
She's dead!
That's good. You
So,
got
just relax.
when they push in, give them the space. We'll spam them out. We got this.
Yeah. You know exactly what to do.
So once Johnny Robot, he was run over by a tank. He refused to pay for the damages to the tank. All right. And Johnny Robot's social security number. It's the final digits of pi.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one.
Oh, and last one for the day. Johnny. These are just Chuck Norris facts. I changed with Johnny Robot. Johnny Robot got coronavirus, and now coronavirus is in isolation.
All right. Big thanks to Aries for putting that together. That was hilarious.
Oh.
And everybody for submitting those clips. Be sure to submit those every single week from your Tranquility matches so we can kind of hear the lighter side of things. But speaking of the lighter side of things, it's crunch time, ladies and gentlemen. For all these teams out there, this is the 4th week. There's only 2 weeks left in stage 1. It's crunch time. Got to get your Cheez-It Ricolas. Okay,
Yeah,
Ricola over here. That's all right. That's all right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick a team that you think it's crunch time for. So this is a team that's gonna be like 1-2 or maybe even 0-3 right now. You got to pick a team in each tier and kind of decide if you expect them to be a contender by the end of the season. Like tell us how this team is gonna pull things around, how they're gonna act in crunch time. So we're gonna start out in Harmony tier, and of course I'm gonna make you go first. I hope you're actually gonna talk about a team this time, not yourself. Bard.
So about Rise Above the Disorder. No, I'm kidding.
A great charity, but let's
yeah.
on topic.
I always forget that I go first, so I write down like 5. But I'm gonna go with a fun one for Harmony tier, and then I'll be very, very super try hard serious for the rest of the tiers, because I've got a good friend who you can't see right now because my screen is I'm filming on a potato, but he's on my Cheez-It Grooves. He's on my Cheez-It Grooves box, and he's a very good friend of mine. And he's been re-added to this team after a brief stint as a free agent, and that is NPC and Gomel. And I think Gomel looked pretty good this season. I think last season they were kind of the meme team, kind of the dream team as well. But this season they're pulling it together. The strat roulette I trust because I used to do it all the time in Counter-Strike, and it got me pretty far. And I think they're a team that drops into B or C tier, rolls that tier, and then just has a good playoff run. So I'm seeing them getting some moves in.
Okay, it's official. Bard has controlled substances in those Cheez-It Grooves. Somebody needs to check. All right, Death Knot. Why don't you pick a team in Harmony tier that is not doing too well right now, but you expect them to bounce back?
Look, I don't care about the bias. Potatoes, man. Like,
yeah,
they had a 4-0. They had a 4-0 in the one match they won. And they got some kind of cracked DPS. They got C-Man. I mean, they got Cog switching over to tank. Like, come on. They're gonna get to the playoffs, and they're not gonna lose like the first game, like happened, when I was on the team.
Okay. All right. So no bias there out of Death Knot. Okay. Perfect.
Not at all.
Perfect. Not at all. All right. Booth, what team for you in Harmony tier is crunch time right now?
I mean, this isn't even a question for me. It's got to be Strix. I mean, they're sitting at 1-2, but let's look at the 3 games. Win over Jetpack Cats. Their only loss, 3-2. So close game still, but win over Jetpack Cats. 2-3 versus Maelstrom, who's obviously still a great team, sitting really high up in the group. Then 2-1 against Phantasmal. The only team Phantasmal hasn't 4-0'd yet. I mean, if you look at the rest of the schedule, Rebirth, Ultraviolet left, you're going to expect those are probably some of definitely not the top of the group. They're beneath them here. So probably wins in most of the books, and at least in most people's eyes. But they ended up 3-2 with close losses to some of the top teams in the Harmony tier. I mean, they've got to be a contender. I mean, they're going to finish Group B most likely because of this, but they have to be a contender going into the playoffs here and be one of the surprise teams sitting in like that 5th or 6th seed. I mean, I would, if they go up against Phantasmal again, that could be the team to really take them out, especially when you get into those weird playoff seeding. So they're going to be a team to deal with.
Yeah, I definitely think middle of the road seating there is probably best for most teams. Harmony Giant, what about you? In Harmony tier, we named the tier after you. You know, most people don't know that, but what team do you see having a rough time right now, but it's really gonna turn it around in crunch time?
So conveniently, it's the Holy Jalapenos, which I'm wearing such a nice shirt from the not rigged pick last week. And it really wasn't. That sounded super condescending. But no, I think it's the Holy Jalapenos. The team's been together for a long time. They have such a high pedigree of winning and being able to come back from losses. I think that these have had a rough start to go, but I know that they can kind of pick up the pace moving forward in the series.
Okay, yeah, Holy Jalapenos. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. All right, so now we're going to jump over to the Discord tier. Basically, same deal. It's getting crunch time. A lot of teams taking a lot of tough losses right off the bat, but it's anybody's game. Stage 2 can really turn things around for teams, especially in the formats that we have. So, Bard, you're going first. I know you wrote down 5 of them, but I want you to go first anyway, because you come first alphabetically. I just got to do it. Who do you think is going to turn it around in crunch time in Discord tier?
See, I do come first alphabetically, but this team doesn't come first alphabetically because I am picking SEAL Team Spuds, mainly so that Death Knot cannot. But I'm just running down the list. You've got your teammate, Crackdown Support. You've got Death Knot, obviously cracked on Hanzo. You've got Beppo.
Just Hanzo.
You get one.
You get the modified treatment. All I've heard from Whitman is that you play Hanzo. We've got Kiddo, absolutely nuts on the off tank. You've got the sheriff himself, Seraph, and then you've got D-Wang and Rare Soccer running up the flex support. That's a cracked lineup. I don't know how these guys are sitting at the record that they're sitting at right now. They should be absolutely going crazy, and I think it's just a slow start. And you know what they say? Sometimes when you throw a potato downhill, it takes a little bit of time to build up that speed, and by the end of the season, they're going to be hitting critical mass, and they're just going to potato gun fire right into someone and go right to the finals.
Yes, I too have heard that metaphor. Yes, that makes total sense.
It's a real thing. I look it up.
You tripped over the finish line.
There was never a finish line. It was me making a metaphor.
Death Knot Bard has called you a Hanzo one trick. What would you care to say about that?
I'm in Mage L now, man. I play Hanzo like every now and then. I mean, you know, it's hard.
Okay.
But I mean, first of all, I gotta say we're the D-Wang gang now, guys. You gotta call our true colors now. So but you know, I was gonna keep the bias, but you know, and I was kind of looking at Flying Lions too. But I think Blizzard Bears, man. Blizzard Bears 1 and 2 right now. You know, they had a good showing in the preseason tournament. They're a good team. You know, I don't think it stops here for them. I think they're gonna keep going, get some more wins in there. Just a little bit of a rough start 1 and 2, but you know, it's gonna turn around.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. All right, Booth. What do you think? Is Death Knot a Hanzo one trick or not? That's the current topic.
What is that?
No, I'm just kidding. It's actually.
Hey, I went through 2 seasons of Pharaoh one trick jokes. You can have one podcast.
Look, Hanzo's kind of in the meta. Get over it.
Yeah, I can't point fingers at one tricks. Some people who are new to the community, I used to be just a diva one trick. That's why I have the Christmas sweater. But now I've been pushed back to a production one trick. So I'm still living out my fantasy in Overwatch like that, just in a different way. But okay, for me, I keep going with 1 and 2 teams here. But for me, it's got to be Reminiscence. Had a rough start. The feature match against Frost was still a crazy close game. You really see some of those maps are coming down straight to the end. And a lot of the matches have been like that. I mean, the team has been around. I mean, this is a big change for them. I mean, they were the favorites in every game they played last season when most of them were on flashbacks in the Harmony tier. So it's a lot of adjustment for them to get up here. But I think they've got the right format. You know, they got the right coaches. I think the players are right. They're just waiting on the right time. I mean, they have the experience when they get to the playoffs. They know what to expect. They've been around. they're just getting used to this SR level, and I think the time's really going to start turning around for them now. They've had the practice, really clean up here at the end of stage 2, get ready to go into stage 1, get into stage 2 with maybe that mid-tier table if they can, even lower table. That still is you still can get a really good seeding into the playoffs. So I think Reminiscence will still be fighting their way through in these next couple of months.
Yeah, Reminiscence, the only team to lose to NPC in the Discord tier. That's my favorite memory from the Nostalgia org right there. Harmony Giant, what do you see happening in Discord tier? Is there a team that's going to turn things around now that it's crunch time?
For me, the team that I think is going to turn it around, as Death Knight mentioned, Flying Lions. I think they're a very strong competitive team. They held Ragnarok to 5 games, which is the only team that's done that so far. And honestly, I think that they'll get a couple wins and they'll really start to gain momentum going into the next stages in this game. I really do. There's something about them.
Okay, all definitely good picks here. But we've got one more tier to go. It's still crunch time, but now for Transcendence tier. This tier it's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. It's a very narrow SR gap, so I was afraid that we were going to have a hard time. But these teams are actually doing really, really well. Discord tier, I think, is still our premier tier, but Transcendence tier definitely got a lot going on for it. So there's a couple of teams, though, whole bunch of them out there right now that are sitting at 1 and 2, or even 0 and 3. Which team is going to turn it around? You know what, Bard? Nobody cares about you. We're going to skip you. Death Knot, you go first.
All right. Thanks for that.
That way you can pick the potatoes. You can pick decapitators.
Well, you guys already know how I feel about decapitators. I can't pick them. I'm not gonna pick them. I mean, you already know how I feel.
Death Knot doesn't believe in you.
No, you already know how I feel. I mean, the potato org is the best, but everybody likes dirt, right? I know
Dirt. I like dirt.
Dirt's 1 and 2 right now. What's going on, man? Dirt's a strong team. Like they have a history already in Tranquility. This is just a couple of losses, whatever. They're going to turn it around, and they're going to be the Dirt that we know, that we've always known, that we've always liked.
It's true. I like dirt. Well, you know what, Bard, I skipped you because I thought for sure Death Knot could take SEAL teams, or decapitators, whatever their team is. But you know what?
Potatoes.
Now it's your turn to take the Tater org, or not. Now that you know he's not going to take it.
All right. I'd like everyone to quickly just join me in saying a quick blessing to Papa Jeff up above. Battalion underrated. J Silly outdated. Long have we awaited. Pig DK activated.
Preach.
Battalion should have a better record than they do right now. This is another team that, just looking at who they have, looking at some of the pickups they've made, the changes they've made, who they have on the roster, who they have in the org, how have they not just like bulldozed a couple games by now? And I think that they're a team that, like SEAL Team Spuds and Discord tier, just is taking a little bit of time to build up that momentum. They're already looking a lot better than when they started, and I think come playoffs, they're just going to be rolling through teams.
Okay. All right. So far, no one has taken the decapitators. Booth, what do you think? Who do you think is going to turn it around in crunch time?
I was going to say Battalion. I mean, in the speech of that bar, they played against the World Wildcats and the Ghostly Peppers. So, I mean, that's maybe why they didn't roll those first 2 losses. But, I'm going to go with a different team here, and I'm going to take the bait there, NPC. I'm going with the Despotators. First off, how have we not discussed the fact that Kingdom's playing?
That name should have been that name.
How have we not talked about that yet? If you've been around Tranquility at all, you know the name Kingdom. Even if you've been outside of Tranquility, you know the name Kingdom. We played in other orgs, so we kind of missed that one underneath the radar. I don't know how we skipped that, but I mean, they've had a couple of really big pickups over these past couple of weeks. They got the support line really ironed out. 1 and 2 again, they can still turn it around in this stage, but even if they don't get above that 500, I don't really see how this team isn't still on the up climb at the end of the stage. Even if they end in like a 2 and 3, I still think they could be a pretty good favorite going into the playoffs.
Okay. Well, to be fair, in the very first podcast this season, I did make a Return of the King joke. So I already called it. You guys must have missed that too. That was 4 weeks ago, but it feels like 4 months. It's pandemic weeks. All right. Harmony Giant, what do you see happening in Transcendence tier? Is the team going to pull it out in crunch time?
So the team that I picked to pull it out in crunch time is Infrared and Nugget the Ghost, as we all know their mascot's name to be, that I picked. No bias there. So I think that they played some competitive matches. They've gone they've gone to 5s. I think that with a couple tweaks and a couple things need to be changed, they can be on the upside of those 3-2 losses. I think that's what they're going to look for in these next couple of matches.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can definitely see that. I like Nugget. I think
I like Nugget.
I like Nugget. All right. So now we're done. We've done crunch time. Crunch time is over, but in our hearts, it's always crunch time. Now, speaking of crunch time, there's somebody that's been part of our community that has come through in a clutch. It's been crunch time every time for this person, and we have to nominate somebody new to the Hall of Fame. I can't say enough about this person, so I'm not gonna speak. I'm actually gonna let Bard do it. Let Bard go first, as always. Bard, I want you to tell us what you think of our next Hall of Fame nominee.
I thought you were gonna let me announce it.
Induction. No, I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
It's Booth.
Bad idea.
Our producer extraordinaire, the one and only, formerly of John Wilkes. Booth.
Formerly of John Wilkes.
That was the name for a while. That was the name for a while. It's a throwback.
So deserved.
Wow. You learn something new every day. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's where that came from.
It was originally John Wilkes Booth, and then
that was
Booth
the name of it.
That was your name.
It was.
Wow.
It was after. I'll tell the story in a second. Go ahead.
Yeah, you'll have a chance. Don't worry. We'll get there.
You don't get to talk, actually.
Oh,
Booth. Sorry.
I'll say.
What can be said about Booth? Nuts. Like, if you've ever been involved, I'm not on screen, that's fine, doesn't matter. If you've ever been involved in casting, in production, in just even watching the games on Twitch the last 2 seasons, and you think, wow, this is really great, this community puts on a great show, this community welcomes me thank you, Beth, welcomes me to casting and to producing and to moving into these spotlights so graciously and so kindly, and lets me do so much to learn more about this and learn more about the game and how this production goes on, and they just put on a great show. That's Booth.
Mm-hmm.
The last 2 seasons, that's Booth. And he's taken over the Twitch team completely. He's become an admin like a week ago. He's especially last season to cover for us.
That's
because
crazy.
Us silly
Oh my God.
casters have lives apparently, and we go off and do other stuff and we play on teams, and Booth is like, all right, well, I guess I'm covering it. He jumps in and takes our games. And I don't know how. There are a few people in Trank, mainly admins, who I don't know how they haven't had some sort of break, like mental snap, because of all of the stuff they have to do. And Booth is number 1 on that list because he's an admin, but he's produced games, he's casted games while producing games. He's had to wrangle us herd of cats that are casters to get us to show up. Without Booth, I can honestly say I probably wouldn't be casting as much as I do right now. I probably wouldn't be on the podcast because I wouldn't have done as many games under Booth, and we wouldn't have names like Captain Jack. We wouldn't have the games that look so good. A lot of this that you're seeing right now is inspired by stuff that Booth has done with the Twitch team. So everyone here who loves watching these games 100% should love Booth and just give him so much credit and so much support.
Yep. To be fair, not putting Booth as an admin until last week was kind of an oversight. We were like, why isn't he already here?
We were like, wait a minute, Booth's not an admin.
Yeah. So that was it wasn't like a last minute decision. It was like, why haven't we decided this already? So Booth, I want to give you a chance to talk here for a bit. Tell everybody the story about the John Wilkes Booth.
Oh my goodness. Well, first off, Bard, thank you so much for all that. That was way too kind of words. So really appreciate you saying all that. But yeah, no, I got to join back in season 2. I played for Illusion. Off Tank, I got to join with a couple of my IRL friends. We played with them for years. I GM'd Invictus, if you remember that name, that dumpster fire. And I played for Illusion again in season 4. I started casting, actually NPC. My first cast is with you. We did the free agent showcase going into season 3. If you remember that game, that was quite an experience. Yeah, but yeah, my name used to be John Wilkes Booth in this. The name originates, if you don't know, from when I was 17 in high school. They gave us iPads to use, and all of us started playing the app Fun Run, if you remember. And 17-year-old guy, you're all stupid. So we all came up with really dumb names, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna be John Wilkes Booth. I don't know, it was funny or something like that. And so all my accounts started going with that. Going into season 3, our game against Tough Luck was being broadcasted by an outside group, and at the end they interviewed me. They interviewed Kingdom and I, actually, because we were the GMs, and they kept saying like, hey, so John Wilkes Booth, how do you feel about this? And I was like, oh, this is the worst. I hate everything about this. No one ever says the full thing. People always just said John, or they said Booth, and I couldn't stand it. So when I started to get with casting, I wanted to switch it down to Booth. I think actually, NPC, you recommended I went with JWB. I had that for like a little bit. There might be like some old post in the Discord you can find where my name's JWB, but that didn't stick very well. But no, I don't know what I could talk for hours about how much this community has really meant to me over these past 2 years. It's honestly been a second family. You guys have helped me get through so much in life, and you'll never get to even know the extent of all of it. But even if I haven't got to communicate with you guys and a direct basis, you guys have been so important to me, been so great. I can't help but thank Juke, Zuby, Yeti, everyone on the production side that really did this job before I got to step in and help out, that really laid down the groundwork. That's all that's here. I mean, they build up so much of what our casting looks like, our production packages. Cavalier puts so much effort into getting the OBS packages right for everything. For the people that have been casting with us this whole time, I mean, if you look at our Twitch team now, we've expanded so much over these past couple of years. If you go to any channels, I mean, speaking of on the cast right now, Bard, Captain Jack, Beast, all these guys were Beak, we're all casting high-level OD games this past weekend. Juke just did production for the freaking OWL scrims that were going on over the weekend. He was one of the observers for that. I mean, you can't go anywhere and not see how well the team's been doing over these past couple of seasons. And you guys have really, I mean, honestly put me in a better light than I think I deserve on a lot of it. So I have to thank all of them so much for it. But I was at a loss for words when I saw I was even nominated, let alone accepted. I was so gracious and so thankful that everybody's get to do, and it just motivates me to keep putting in as much as I can back into everything, because you guys are all worth it.
All right, wise words from Booth himself. Just having Booth as an admin and having Booth around here as production and everything. It was just a lock, it's going to get to Hall of Fame. He was a lock. Speaking of locks, we got to talk about locks of the week.
Transition.
Yes,
Transition. Solid.
Thank you. So we're gonna take a look at the lock of the week. Mr. Yeti picks Bard. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Over Lotus. Bethcon picks Flashbacks 4-0 over Miami. Yikes. Specs picks the Ghostly Peppers over Exodum. There's like bias there, I think. Modify. Triage picks Modify to 4-0 Fighting Potatoes. Ouch, that's gotta hurt for the Potato fam. And Harmony Giant, for whatever reason, you're actually on this list. Joey Esports 3-1 over SEAL Team Spuds. That's your lock of the week. Since you're actually on this sheet, Harmony Giant, I want you to defend yourself.
What do you mean?
Well, back that up. Come on.
I mean,
you can't claim. You can't make a claim with Joey Esports 3-1. Come on.
Joey Sports is a strong team, and I'm not going to discredit SEAL Team Spuds, but I think they're just the better team, and they're going to continue to dominate the rest of the season. And they're just strong, and we all know that. And I'm not saying that the SEAL Team Spuds are bad, but I think that this week that they will lose to Joey Sports.
Okay. Death Knot, do you have any rebuttal there? I mean, you're going to pull out the Hanzo and get some headshots?
Yeah, I'm just going to play Hanzo like the whole game.
Yeah, okay.
Don't worry about it, man. I got this.
Okay. Perfect.
He knows what he has to do to win, chat.
Death Knot, what kind of lock do you have this week?
This week I had... Actually, who did I have this week? I had...
Super prepared.
Yeah, I had Void 4-0. Man, Void's like looking really strong. I think, I think they're just going to keep going. And, Boop, I mean, Like you look at the scores, it's the Void's like 3-0 right now. Boop's 0-3. I think Boop's not terrible. It's just, Void's just kind of too good this week. I don't know. It's gonna be tough. I think Void just takes it, man. Like I can't really say anything else.
All right. Bard, what do you got for your lock of the week in Harmony tier?
I have not in Harmony tier. I have Ragnarok beating Outlast 4-0. Again, 3-0 team versus an 0-3 team.
Yeah.
It was my week to pick Ragnarok.
That's true. We're all just kind of waiting our turn.
Yeah, and then the gamble here was just, are they going to tie 2 CP? But I think this week they won't, and then next week they'll draw 2 maps to make up for it. So
okay, all right. I was going to be shocked that Bard was not predicting a draw, but then he predict the double draw next week. That makes up for it. Okay. All right. Booth, what have you got for your lock of the week?
Yeah, I've got a Aphelion taking the 3-1 over Circus Freak, which it's more speaking to the fact that I think they're just a very strong team. I think Circus Freak's probably one of the better 1 and 2 teams that we didn't actually get to mention during our segment tonight. But it's hard to pick against them. They've looked so strong these past couple of weeks. I was shocked they were still kind of on the list for me when it got down to my turn to pick, but if you got to see their feature match at all, you saw how strong they're looking, and kind of went unnoticed a little bit at the beginning. Kind of joined a little late, I believe, right? I don't know. I don't think first week they got to play their full game, but been undefeated since then. Yeah, I think it's going to continue.
Okay. All right. That probably makes sense. All these undefeated teams going to keep going undefeated. Brits in the chat's upset that Corvidity wasn't talked about. Speaking of upset, let's look at the upset special. Mr. Yeti picked Inferno Foxes to upset Soul Cyberpunks 3-1. Bethcon picked the Scarlet Lions 3-1 over the Flying Lions. We don't even know what the roster for the Scarlet Lions is going to look like at this point. So that's a bold take right there. Specs picked Atlas Arcadia over Mob Mentality. I don't know what he's thinking there, but I mean, it could happen. Triage, my man went with Infrared over Dirt. That is going to be one heck of a game to watch right there. I think that's going to be a game. And then Harmony Giant, once again, you're on the list. Battalion 3-1 over Lijiang Legion. Harmony Giant, you want to talk about that a little bit?
We've kind of talked about it before, and I know Bard talked about him, I believe, earlier. But Battalion seems to be an underrated team, and I don't know why. And I think that they're going to be I think they're going to kind of pick it up and keep going, moving forward, and figuring things out from here on out. Okay, that's why I think they'll win.
Makes sense. I have to point out that for health reasons, we had to stop the drinking game every time somebody said underrated. It's now optional. You no longer have to. It is no longer compulsory for your health. But
underrated.
Raise them if you got them. Speaking of underrated, Bard, what is your upset special this week?
Battalion underrated. Jay Silly outdated. Long have we awaited. PDK must be avenged. He's not on the team anymore.
Okay.
He's stepped back. He's just the GM. But I think that is the fire the Battalion need to win 3-2 this week against Lijiang Legion. I think they're going to struggle just a little bit because they don't have the Pig DK. It was a bit of a carry. PD carry is what we call him around here. But I still think this is Battalion's week to come back. And I really think that they're going to, just with a passion, they're going to make up for the loss of PDK and win this 3-2.
So what you're saying is PDK was the problem. All right. Death Knot, what do you think? No, moving on. No.
Okay, so I'm going with Gannicus because I don't know, the name sounds so cool, but they're pretty darn good, man. I think Koala Kings are good too, but I don't know. I think this is where like some of those, this is one of those matches where those 2-1 teams meet, and then you figure out which one's just better. And I think it's going to be Gannicus 3-1, man. Koala Kings are good. I think Gannicus, though, they've been showing some promise, so I think they're one of the underrated teams for sure.
Another underrated team. Booth, what do you think? Who's your upset special this week?
Yeah, I picked a big one. I went with One Last Freak taking a 3-1 victory over God Hand. One Last Freak, I think it's a pretty still good team. It didn't have the best result last week. But if you got to watch their matches, I think they're really well, teams really well put together. They've got so much synergy from playing together over these past couple of years. I really like their dive. I think they have such very good Tracer Sombra play. And, maybe I think this is probably going to be one of the first, really tough games for God Hand, especially here in stage 1. And, yeah, I'm gonna give it to One Last Freak. I think it's going to be a close game, though. We're gonna see how this one goes.
Okay, definitely One Last Freak. Going to be a close game. So that was it for the upset specials. But speaking of special, got another segue. We've got a highlights montage put together by our very own Zuby.
Zuby.
All right, very long montage. I want to thank everybody for sending in their clips. That's just amazing. While this clip is running, I am going to be pulling the drawing for the giveaway. So everybody get your channel points in right now. You've got a few seconds to get them channel points in. The very last minute for the giveaway, we are doing a $50 Amazon gift card and a t-shirt from the Tranquility Store. Harmony Giant is modeling the t-shirt right now. Actually, that one was free from the store. I've got one. Mine was not free. I paid for mine because if I won, it would be rigged, right? I can't ever. So I have 70,000 channel points that I just can't spend. So that's the way it is. Zuby, the Yugoslavian montage maker. Thank you so much, Zuby. Everybody watch this and we will be right back.
for comms check.
All right, thank you guys so much, Zuby, for putting that together. That was just amazing. I love it. You love to see it. All right, so we are wrapping things up. So event week is in 2 weeks. It's the week between week 5 and stage 2, stage 1 and stage 2. And it is for charity, Rise Above the Disorder. ! Charity in the chat will tell you a little bit more about Rise Above the Disorder. They help eliminate the paywall between getting mental help. And you go to them, you apply, you say, hey, look, I need some mental help and I can't afford it. They'll go ahead and set you up with somebody and go ahead and take care of your bills. So that's a great thing that they do. So we want to raise money for them. They're active in the gaming community. I met a lot of these guys in person at DreamHack Anaheim. A great group of people. So anyway, we love to support them and we love all that they do back for us. So we want to go ahead and support them. ! Donate in the chat will take you to all of our donation incentives, including all the ones Bard just mentioned. Now,
They'll be up soon.
They'll be up soon. I haven't put those up yet, but there's still plenty of options. There's a painting. BethCon made me this painting right there of Hanamura. I believe there's a couple of people that have one. That's an option. There's tons of great incentive rewards. There are these pins, enamel metal pins with the Tranquility logo. That's Bard's painting from BethCon. There it is. Very nice, very nice. So there's tons of great incentives there, even if you could just donate $2. But the biggest thing you want to be donating for this week is $10 to 1v1 anyone on this podcast. So for $10, you pick a 1v1, probably Bard. Okay, everybody wants to 1v1 Bard.
Got a winning record.
You get to pick the hero, and we are going to allow teabagging, and it's actually encouraged on Bard. Okay, so. Yeah, so that whole event week, that's going to happen Monday instead of the podcast. We'll have one more podcast before week 5, and then we will have the Monday Iris podcast 1v1s. So that'll be great. So that's what you want to be donating for right now. All the other incentives will be available all week, the week of event week. So !charity and !donate in the chat to get in on those. And speaking of charity, we just like to give things away. We like to give things away here on the Iris podcast. All the money from the subscriptions and the bits and all that stuff that you guys give to us, we don't put it in our pockets. Okay, I don't put all of it in my pocket, but some of it goes back to you guys, and it goes back in shirts and giveaways. We got a $50 gift card and we got a T-shirt. I need a drum roll, please. Our first winner is Artemis.
Yo,
Lady Jack.
Nice. Let's go.
Nice.
Winning that $50 gift card. Congratulations.
Tuned into all our streams. She deserves something at some
Yeah,
point.
definitely. Well, she actually has to put up with Jack. I think that's...
Yeah, oh, that's true.
Yes. It's actually rigged. I rigged it because I was like, oh, you got to put up with Jack. You're winning a $50 gift card.
You need $50.
Yeah, definitely.
Treat yourself.
All right. Winning a Tranquility T-shirt of your choice. Drum roll, please. Okay, it has to be a mistake. It says capital. I think I roll it again. I think capital's not here. No capital. Never heard of him. It sounds like a bot. It sounds like a bot to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Re-roll. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Congratulations, Capital.
Congrats, Cap.
Getting that T-shirt. And I think that's going to do it for the Iris podcast this week, presented by NPC instead of Ski for Yeti, Mr. Yeti, whatever his name is.
Whatever.
Yeah. So I'm NPC. That's Bard, Booth, Death Knot, and Harmony Giant, or the other way around, wherever they are. I don't know where they are on your screen. So anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and tune in tomorrow for our feature match, Harmony tier feature match. It's going to be a banger. 8:30 Eastern time every day this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Earn those channel points. Come back here on the podcast. Redeem them for a giveaway. I will see you next week. See you guys later. Or maybe not.